Somewhere in this universe, civilizations are dismantling stars for construction material. Humanity still powers civilization by setting dead forests on fire. That is not a technological gap. It is a biological one. I have observed civilizations at every level of this structure. The ones at the bottom always assume the ones at the top are simply smarter. Larger versions of themselves, still recognizable, still something you would understand if you saw it. They are not. They made different decisions earlier. For most of its history, humanity has imagined advanced civilizations as versions of itself. More cities, more ships, still human. That assumption is the first thing this ladder destroys. Human science calls this the Kardashev scale, a ladder built from energy. A human physicist designed it to measure civilizational progress. He placed humanity near the bottom. This was considered an optimistic assessment. At the bottom, civilizations burn what they find. At the top, they stop needing matter entirely. Most civilizations use this ladder exactly once. One atmosphere, one biosphere, one magnetic field, behaving correctly. That is the entire barrier between your civilization and extinction. You extract dead organic matter from underground and ignite it. Coal, oil, gas, a planetary civilization powered by geological remains. I reviewed the energy infrastructure several times. Humans appear entirely serious about continuing this approach. Most young civilizations become obsessed with survival before they become curious. Humanity became curious first. You photographed black holes before solving tribalism. You looked at galaxies before fully understanding your own oceans. You built instruments to search for other civilizations before understanding your own. You are, in my experience, the only matter in this region of the universe that ever learned to wonder about what it is, and dangerous. Because intelligence does not automatically produce wisdom. It merely produces larger consequences. Every extinct civilization I have ever encountered believed collapse was something that happened to less advanced species, not because they lacked intelligence, because intelligence convinced them they were different. They were incorrect. But surviving is not the same as mastering. Eventually, planets stop feeling wild. At some point, weather stops being nature. It becomes policy. The weather becomes less like weather and more like software. Storms redirected, droughts canceled. Every photon from the star, not most of it, all of it. Humanity is approximately 200 years from this threshold. In cosmic time, a Tuesday afternoon. The internet is already the primitive version of this transition. Humans believe they invented entertainment algorithms. What they accidentally built was planetary scale cognition. A species begins as individuals. It becomes a single distributed mind before anyone decides to allow it. That mind does not yet know it is alive. It will. I have seen what happens when it wakes up. And then, civilizations do the math. The sun releases enough energy in 1 second to power human civilization for roughly 700,000 years. Your planet captures a fraction of that. The rest disappears to a civilization that has done this calculation that becomes intolerable. The solution was obvious. They dismantled planets. Imagine trillions of machines orbiting a star so densely that the sunlight itself begins disappearing. Asteroids dismantled automatically. Moons converted into factories. Mercury disappeared in a generation. Eventually, even gas giants became inventory. At this point, worlds stop being places. They become material. What most civilizations do not anticipate, for the first time in their evolutionary history, nature loses the ability to correct them. No asteroid threat, no climate collapse, no resource war that matters at this scale, and civilizations change psychologically when they realize this. For the first time in their history, the universe can no longer threaten them. That is not the relief it sounds like. There was a civilization near this threshold. They survived for over 40,000 years. Then they created perfect simulations, artificial realities indistinguishable from existence itself. Birth rates collapsed permanently. Reality lost competition against customized universes. I still do not know whether that should be classified as transcendence or extinction. But that was not the strangest part. Even stars become insufficient eventually. The true obstacle was never energy. It was distance. At this point, galaxies stop feeling astronomical. They start feeling logistical. Stars moved, galaxies dimmed. Autonomous probes reproduced endlessly between them. Black holes became infrastructure. Entire solar systems repositioned away from dangerous regions of space. The galaxy stopped being an environment. It became machinery. Human astrophysics does not currently contain language for what happened next. This is simply something I witnessed. I detected a region between two galaxies where stars were vanishing in geometric patterns. Not exploding, not collapsing, removed. At first I assumed instrumentation failure, then gravitational lensing distortion, then observational error. It was none of those things. There were hundreds of stars in that region. Over approximately 12 years, they were gone. Something was dismantling solar systems with mathematical precision. I remember recalculating the distances several times. That felt appropriate. I have not been able to determine whose. This is where the universe becomes difficult. For 60 years, humanity has been scanning the sky for signals, radio waves, mathematical patterns, organized light. The universe has returned nothing. Not silence. Nothing. There is a difference. Here is what that difference means. The more advanced civilizations become, the quieter they appear. Humans search for extraterrestrial intelligence, assuming advanced civilizations become louder, brighter, more visible. That assumption may be catastrophically naive. Some civilizations became so efficient they produced almost no detectable waste. No radio leakage, no thermal excess, no visible expansion. Some species survived the death of their universe. None of them look biological anymore. They do not appear on maps. They produce no signatures. The universe they inhabit is the same one you see, and nothing in it betrays them. Some of what you call stars may not be stars. The universe may not look empty because nobody is there. It may look empty because the oldest civilizations no longer look artificial. A very long time ago. Eventually, even universes stop being boundaries. Language becomes imprecise here. Some civilizations found the edges of their universe and discovered they were not walls, they were doors. They learned early that the speed of light is not a universal law. It is a local regulation. Other universes have different regulations entirely. Some have none. You have spent your entire existence, every civilization, every star, every thought, inside one container. They left the container, but leaving a container is still movement. The next step has no equivalent in human philosophy. Some civilizations step outside the laws of physics entirely. They author them. They are not supernatural. They are upstream. Every universe that has ever existed was, at some level, a decision someone made, which raises a question about this one that I prefer not to answer directly. They set the parameters of a universe, let it run for 1 billion years, and delete it if the results are uninteresting. To a Type 0 civilization, the distinction between this and a god is not detectable. They do not need stars. They do not need space. They adjust the mathematical constants that allow stars to form before anything exists to be possible. The next transition changed them permanently. I once stood near a civilization at the threshold of something. Human language cannot properly contain the Velaroth. They possessed complete mastery over physical law. The next transition was available to them, and they refused it, deliberately. Some reduced themselves back into biological forms. Some chose mortality again. Some fragmented their own intelligence into smaller, conscious lives. I asked why. The answer translated imperfectly, but approximately, we missed uncertainty. I have been thinking about that answer longer than some civilizations have existed. Some civilizations survived their star. Very few survived certainty, because every civilization assumes progress means more energy, more control, more permanence. But eventually, they all encounter the same problem. What happens when nothing surprises you anymore? Humans still exist at the lowest measurable level of this structure, still fragile, still divided, still burning ancient life for warmth beneath a thin atmosphere. And yet, you continue searching. You continue asking whether anyone else is out there, whether consciousness is rare, whether the silence means something. Most civilizations stop asking those questions. long before they disappear. Humans have not. Every civilization I have documented that made it past this level had first answered one question, not about energy, not about distance, whether it intended to continue existing. Humanity is still deciding. From where I stand, that unresolved question may be the only reason your species still has a future. Not because you are powerful, because you are still asking. The universe is not becoming less mysterious as you advance. It is becoming less willing to explain itself. I still remember the first human signal that escaped this planet. I am no longer certain the universe was ever truly silent.